Anyone can win terrific prizes like this. Wallace's Chafing Dish, the perfect serving piece for your elegant buffet. Fashioned in the Grand Baroque pattern from Wallace Silversmiths.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Moore.
Thanks a lot. Welcome back. Our first guest today, our next to last one of the week, is a leading member of a group that has, I'm afraid, been rather badly exploited, the American Indians. He is an Indian chief, in fact, quite an important one. And we will meet him as soon as we've said hello to our panel here on To Tell the Truth.
Peggy Cass. Bill Cullen. Kitty Carlisle. And Gene Rayburn.
Oh, ashtray.
Everybody's got an ashtray, everybody's got matches, but that is not for our first guest. That is for something yet to come. Large surprise. We have an important gentleman. I would like us to welcome him now. Let us meet our Indian chief.
Number one, what is your name, please?
I am Shaman Chief Kitpoo, Shaman of the Algonquin. This is the peace pipe of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and this is the treaty.
Number two,
I am Shaman Chief Kitpoo of the Algonquin, and this pipe was presented to me by the Sioux.
number three,
I am Shaman Chief Kitpoo. This is 400 years old and was smoked at the Treaty of Champlain at the French and Algonquin in 1608.
All right, our job is to find out which one of these gentlemen is indeed the real Chief Kitpoo, and here is his story. I, Chief Kitpoo, am a shaman or medicine man for the Algonquin nations. As such, I am the spokesman for many thousands of Indians. I speak 5 Indian languages and am the only man alive who performs the Algonquin prayer chants. On a totally different front, I have appeared in 7 motion pictures, including How the West Was Won and Rifle 66. Recently, I finished a project of tremendous significance, the complete translation of all the Algonquin laws into English. As a result of my important work for my people, I hold an honorary member's card to the Canadian House of Commons, signed Shaman Chief Kitpoo. And while the panel tries to frame some questions, let's have a commercial or two. Now, the thing about it is that all 3 of these gentlemen claim to be Chief Kitpoo, medicine man for the Algonquin nations. And we'll start the questioning, please, with Gene Rayburn.
Thank you. Number 2, what are the 5 languages you speak, please?
Passamaquoddy, Seneca,
That's close
Micmac.
enough. Thank you. Number 3, do you catch cold very often?
No, I don't.
You walk around like that a lot?
Where I come from, it's 60 below,
Where's that?
up in Labrador.
And you were born and raised there?
Yes, I was born and raised there, I was born there, but we moved to, I took my people out to BC, BC, British Columbia.
Number 1, thanks, number 1. That's all I wanted.
Great smile.
Number 1, you look pretty Irish to me. You don't look very Indian. Okay, that's all, number 1.
Gene Rayburn, you're just terrible.
Oh, I got him.
You think you got him? All right, let's go to Peggy.
He looks Indian to me. Oh, no? Okay. Number 2, what are the 5 nations that make up the Algonquin Nation?
Well, there are more than 5. There were up to 100.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Now, is the Micmac part of the Algonquin Nation?
Micmac is.
Now, where are the Micmacs?
The Micmacs are up in Nova Scotia.
Thank you.
The Millbrook Reservation.
Number 3, what is the Longhouse?
It's a building where all our people live in when it's winter.
Thank you. Number 1, who is Joseph Brandt?
I don't know.
Gene Rayburn is talking number 1 out of this thing all the whole game altogether.
Oh, it's a wipeout.
Bill Cullen.
What do you want?
Come on, ask something.
Ask number 1 something.
All right. Number 1.
Go ahead, ask number 1.
Did anyone ever tell you you look like Buddy Hackett?
Yeah, sure did.
I didn't know Buddy Hackett was an Indian. I think number 1 is Buddy Hackett, and number 3 is Bill Todman on a good day. Number 3, what is the importance of having the Algonquin laws translated into English?
I think it's perfect. It's like it's not like the 10 Commandments where it says thou shalt not do this and that.
Right.
It tells you, it makes you, like when you say it or you think about it, it makes, you take a choice. But it's sort of to the good, to the choice. And
Thank you.
Really beautiful.
Okay, thank you, Bill, and that takes us to Kitty Carlisle.
Number
please.
1, where do the Personae live?
Then they live in Navajo country.
Thank you. And number 2, tell me, are the Algonquin laws written down? Number 2?
Number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was...
Are they written down?
Yes.
What kind of symbols are used?
Well, you have symbols that resemble what we live by, teepees,
I see.
horseshoes,
Thank you.
animals.
Number 3, would you say about or house?
No, they were written in the Algonquin.
Would you pronounce the word A-B-O-U-T?
We don't have it like that. It's sort of a
Say it in English.
It's a pictograph.
Huh?
It's a pictograph, like.
No, pronounce the word H-O-U-S-E.
She wants to hear you say the word house for some reason known only to her.
Oh, Quay.
No, in English.
House.
House. He said it. And there you got it. Now, on the basis of whatever you may have learned, you may mark your silly ballots. And you mark them for number 1, or you mark them for number 2, or you mark them for number 3. And we pay $50 for each wrong vote. We pay $500 if all the votes are wrong. And Gene O'Rayburn, you may begin.
Yes, well, I tell you, such courage coming out here, a pure Irish-blooded guy wearing a crazy-looking wig. That kind of courage has to be rewarded, so I voted for the Smiling Irishman.
You gonna vote for him?
I'm gonna vote for him.
All right, there's 1 vote for number 1. Then we go to Peggy Cass, please.
Well, I think number 1 is an Irishman, and number 3 said he took his people from Labrador to British Columbia, which is some trip. So I voted for number 2, who knew that the Micmacs are in Nova Scotia, which indeed they are.
There's a 1 and a 2 and a Bill Cullen.
Well, I thought number 1 was marvelous and jolly and fine, and number 2 is the certainly most likely looking one, but number 3 gave Kitty a heck of a fight on pronouncing house, and for that reason, I voted for, because it takes a heap of living, and I voted for him for that reason.
We're got 1, 2, and 3, and Kitty, you're gonna have to break the tie.
Well, number 1 said the Personae lived in Navajo country, and they don't. They live in Canada.
Oh, the ones I know live at the Waldorf.
What? There's Purse. I said Personae. Oh! Well...
It's a giddy panel today.
It's a giddy panel today. I think number 3 is rather young to have taken his people anywhere except out of diapers, but nevertheless, I voted for number 3.
Well, that's the way it goes. Let's find out about it. How did you vote at home? Will the real Chief Kitpoo? I can't do this.
No.
Will the real Chief Kitpoo please stand up?
That's number 1.
Hey!
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
The Smiling Irishman. Chief Kitpoo will be back to you in a moment. Let us find out who your very impressive friends were. Number 2, you got 1 wrong vote. Stay seated so we can hear you over the mic, please. What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Spotted Eagle, and I'm a photographer, filmmaker for Benson & Bowles, an advertising agency.
How you like them apples? And number 3, in spite of your tender years, you got 2 wrong votes. What is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Gwis Kitpu, and my father's sitting right there.
He is the father of Chief Kitpu. We have to go right to, well, all right, I'll tell you what, let's do it. Chief, you told us earlier that you did have some translation of the Algonquin laws into English. Would you bring your drum center, please, and first give us the English translation, and then give us some of the laws in your language?
Father, in your youth, have time for your sons, and in your age, your sons will have time for you. When you are in the lodge of your loved ones, and you are a wolf, go into the forest, find the tranquility there, and come home again a man. Tribal laws were sung in the mountains and chanted by the chieftains, and this is the way they were taught. And grandfather taught me. His voice could be heard for 7 miles, but the spirit carried his message.
And thank you very much, Chief Kitpu and your friends, for being with us here on To Tell the Truth. Well, now I got something for you that's a real kick in the head, I'll tell you. You know, today we hear an awful lot about people trying to stop smoking. Everyone knows somebody who's tried to quit maybe 18 times. Our next guest today is a gentleman who has a way of quitting the tobacco habit that he claims works on 4 out of 5 people. And we'll meet him in a moment right after a couple of messages. Now, panel, before we meet our next guest, I've got a new kind of cigarette I would like you to try. Whether you smoke or not, light up and take a couple of puffs on the thing. You've got matches in front of you. And just give me a general reaction to what you think, because this may be the answer to a problem for a lot of people. We don't know. We'll see what kind of reaction we get from it. And,
Delicious.
huh? You like it, Kitty?
Absolutely delicious.
I think it's terrible.
You're not too crazy about it. What do you think, Bill?
A green taste.
Has a what?
A green taste.
I think
Kind
it
of a
tastes
green
rotten.
taste. Well, I'm sure that you'll all recognize this.
What is
That's
that?
lettuce.
It's a piece of lettuce. And that's what those, if you want to call them cigarettes, are made out of. And the man who invented them is our next guest. And so let's meet him right now.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Pusant Terigian.
Number 2,
My name is Pusant Terigian.
number 3,
My name is Pusant Terigian.
And of course, only one of the gentlemen is the real Pusant Terigian, and here is his story. I, Pusant Terigian, am the inventor of No Tobacco smoking products. I developed them as a halfway measure for people who want to stop smoking but are unable to quit cold turkey. Using my product, a smoker will enjoy the pleasure of smoking without the ill effects of the nicotine and the tar from tobacco. For many years, I tried various leafy plants to find an acceptable replacement for tobacco. I smoked laboratory samples made from spinach, carrot leaves, kale, cabbage, and 200 other kinds of leafy vegetables. I finally settled on the outer leaves of iceberg lettuce. I know from personal experience that my no tobacco smoking works. Before I invented them, I used to smoke a pack and a half of ordinary cigarettes every day. Signed, Pusant Terigian. And wouldn't it be funny if we found out that he's gone from 1 leaf to 2 heads of lettuce a day? It could be that way, you know. Let's start the questioning with who? Who should we start with? Why not Bill Cullen? He's
Number-
Oh, all right, Kitty. Let's start with
All
Kitty.
right. Well, because
you said you liked them.
I want to pursue your line of questioning. Number 3, how many of these do you smoke a day?
Well, I smoke about half a pack.
Half
really.
a pack a day?
Just
Number two, I just smoked one, and it leaves a rather strange aftertaste. Is that part of the deal? It's supposed to
the
leave a
first
curious...
cigarettes you
No,
smoked.
number two. Is
It should,
supposed-
the cigarette should be perforated, as it explains on the back of the package.
It is perforated, isn't it? Oh. But I mean, it leaves a curious aftertaste, doesn't it?
Not necessarily.
Not to you it does.
No.
Well, it did to me. Number one, where are these marketed?
In New Jersey, New York, England, Canada, South Africa, and a number of places.
And why do they make people smoke less?
Because there isn't any nicotine in there.
And is that what makes you smoke less?
And Kitty, I'm sorry, your time's up. We're going to go to Gene.
Thank you, Gary. Number two, the claim is that the nicotine is absent and therefore they are less harmful.
Oh, by all means.
Yeah. Well, now, smoke, actually, even though it floats around the air, is matter, isn't it?
Yes.
And does it seem logical to introduce any kind of solid matter into your lungs? I mean, it's got to hurt you in some way, doesn't it? Number two?
No, as long as you've eliminated the nicotine, which is actually the poisonous factor.
Mm-hmm. Number three, why do you perforate the paper on the tobacco, on the cigarettes?
For aeration, basically, depending on the kind of cigarette you're used to smoking. And this will lessen the strength of the cigarette. If you're used to a milder cigarette, one perforation, or two more so, or three, will make it even milder.
I see. Number one, how many...
Thank you, Gene. Let's go down to Peggy.
Well, I must say, I don't really care for them, but I don't smoke, so all cigarettes taste terrible to me. They might be just really marvelous. Number three, how do you know there isn't any nicotine in lettuce?
There is no, it just is a fact that there is no nicotine in lettuce. There is some tar, a small amount of tar,
Dear
but
me.
absolutely no nicotine.
Now, number two, people really smoke because they like the nicotine. So if they're gonna quit smoking, why would they smoke stuff that doesn't have nicotine when it's the nicotine they're hooked on?
Well, actually, the Surgeon General of the United States has mentioned that almost 300,000 people die yearly through nicotine. It's a harmful product. Knowing the fact it's not in food or in drugs.
I'm aware of that.
medicine.
But number one, if what you like, the reason you drink alcohol isn't because you're crazy for the taste, you like the little jolt it gives you. And the reason people smoke is because they're hooked on nicotine. If you take the nicotine out, why bother to smoke at all?
Well, I suppose if you're a drunkard, the alcohol becomes important, but if you're a social drinker, the alcohol is not that important.
Well, I know, but what about this nicotine?
And from Peggy, we go to Bill
They never told
Cullen.
me about the nicotine.
You're not going to get him to pronounce house either.
Now, I've been told by everybody I know that I should stop smoking because it's the thing to do now. Would this cigarette, number one, would this cigarette make me stop?
It would help you stop. If you wanted to stop, it would help you stop.
How many of these cigarettes do you smoke, number one?
I don't smoke any at all anymore.
Number two, may I ask you the same question?
About 10 cigarettes a day. Against almost 2 packs a day.
How do you feel, number two?
I feel wonderful.
I'm trying again.
You know, look...
Do you inhale, number two?
Yes, I do.
If number two's an imposter, I'm dead.
That was a pointed question, and we're going to have to take our pointed crayons and make a number on our ballots, and we make a number one, or we make a number two, or we make a number three. And we pay $50 for each wrong vote, and $500 if all the votes are wrong. And Kitty Carlisle starts, please.
I'm voting for number one, because number one said if you want to smoke, you can stop. And he's an honest man, and that's the truth of it.
Okay, and so it's 1 for 1, and Gene Rayburn.
Well, I guess I should have voted for number one because there was an element of honesty. You know, he's manufacturing these miserable tasting cigarettes. I mean, they taste so lousy that you gotta quit. So, I don't know why I didn't vote for. I voted for number two because he's fighting for the merchandise and he's hustling and selling, and so I guess that's why I voted for him.
All right, we got a 1, we got a 2, and Peggy?
Well, I think they're all very good, but number two has all that stuff about the Surgeon General, 300,000 people got cancer and everything. And a guy who made these cigarettes would know those statistics. They're terrible statistics. The best thing is not to smoke.
And Bill Cullen, what do you say?
Well, I agree with Gene on the taste of the cigarette. It's not the best thing that ever happened to me. If you looked at those three people and someone said one of those men is named Pouzon Turigian,
yes?
Wouldn't you say number two? I think that man is Pouzon Turigian if there ever was one.
Number 2.
And for that reason, I voted for him.
Your number 2 is a Turigian. All right, we'll find out. Will the real Pouzon Turigian please stand up. Kitty got it. Be back to you in a moment, Mr. Terigian. Number 2, sir, with the 3 strong votes. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Robert Leroy, and I own Leroy's Antique Shop on 3rd Avenue, 63rd Street, Manhattan.
And number 3, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Richard Daniels, and I work for Project Hope, which sponsors the American hospital ship, the SS Hope.
That's great. That's just fine. Well, now, Puzant Terigian, sir, this cigarette of yours being made out of lettuce should be, in theory, if you get caught someplace out and you're hungry, should be not only smokable, should be edible. So it could double, couldn't it, as food or something?
Matter of fact, I have one here. It tastes good like no cigarette could, Gary.
Isn't that great? The name of the brand, by the way, is Bravo, isn't that it? Because I know we're going to get a lot of mail on it. It's called Bravo, and it has no warning on the pack. That's why we were allowed to show it on television. Nothing from the government. And thank you, Mr. Terigian. Bon appetit. And thank you also, gentlemen, for being with us here on To Tell the Truth. Well, that's as far as we can go this week, and I don't know about you, panel, but I've had a good time. It's nice for us all to be back together again. Thanks, Gene. Welcome home, Kitty, Peggy, Bill, and we're going to all gather here Monday, and we will see you then. Take care.
In addition to the cash awards, our central characters today will receive a year's subscription to Horizon, a handsome quarterly and hardcover that carries no ads. Horizon, the magazine that says what civilization is. Transportation and other considerations provided by Chevrolet, featuring the 1971 Impala. More wheelbase, more glass, more sound-deadening materials, all at a Chevrolet price. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
The truth can be found in black and white with Bud Collyer. Don't miss the original To Tell the Truth, Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Los Angeles